All right, let's talk about getting the best of both worlds. Today, we're diving into something called the Duplex system. Imagine taking the toughest nails protection of galvanized steel and combining it with the endless color and finish options of paint. It's a powerhouse combination, so let's get into how it all works. But first, before we can really appreciate the solution, we have to understand the enemy. And when it comes to steel, there is one relentless, silent enemy that never sleeps: corrosion. I'm sure you've seen this before, that unmistakable flaky orange rust eating away at a steel beam. Steel is the backbone of our world, holding up everything from our bridges to our buildings, but it's got this one major weakness. And rust isn't just ugly, it's a chemical attack that's literally weakening the steel from the inside out. And make no mistake, this is not a small problem. We're talking about a multi-billion-dollar headache every single year just to fight corrosion and fix the damage it causes. This affects everything from our tax dollars spent on infrastructure to the safety of industrial sites. So you can see why finding a long-term fix is a pretty big deal. So that brings us to our first line of defense, a true classic and a real workhorse in the fight against rust: hot dip galvanizing. Now, the way galvanizing works is actually really clever. It's not just a simple coating, it's a two-for-one deal. First, you've got barrier protection. The zinc coating literally creates a physical shield, sealing the steel off from the air and moisture. But the real magic is the cathodic protection. Zinc is basically more willing to corrode than steel is. So if you get a scratch, the zinc around it sacrifices itself. It corrodes first to protect the steel underneath. It's like a self-healing shield. Pretty cool, right? So how does a piece of steel get this zinc armor? Well, it's a three-step dance. First, and this is super important, the steel has to be perfectly clean. Then, the whole thing gets a hot bath in a giant kettle of molten zinc. We're talking over 800 degrees Fahrenheit or 438 Celsius. This doesn't just coat the steel, it creates a bonded metallurgical layer. Finally, it's cooled down and inspected. The result is a ridiculously tough protective coat. Now, one thing about fresh galvanizing is that it can look a little inconsistent. You might have some shiny spots, some dull spots, but give it a couple of years out in the weather and it all evens out into this nice, uniform matte gray. That's great for protection, for sure, but what if you need a specific color? Or what if you need it to look perfect on day one?
And that, my friends, is where we get to the main event, the ultimate upgrade. Let's talk about the Duplex system.
This is really the question that started it all. What if you didn't have to choose? What if you could have the incredible, self-sacrificing protection of zinc and the beautiful colors and finishes of a high-tech paint? And what if by putting them together, you made something way more powerful than either one alone? Well, that's exactly what a duplex system is. It's a two-step knockout punch for corrosion. You start with hot dip galvanized steel, and then you add a layer of paint or powder coating right on top. Simple as that. Okay, this number is the whole point. This is the aha moment. It's not just addition. It's not like paint life plus zinc life. It's a synergy. The total lifespan of a duplex system is 1.5 to over 2 times longer than the two systems added together. Why? Because the paint protects the zinc from weathering, and the zinc underneath protects the steel from any chips or scratches in the paint. Each one makes the other better. But, and this is a huge but, to get that incredible synergistic bonus, there is one thing you absolutely positively cannot mess up, and that is preparation. I cannot stress this enough. All of those amazing benefits, that incredible lifespan, it all goes right out the window if the surface prep isn't done right. If the surface isn't ready, the paint won't stick and the entire system will fail. This is, without a doubt, the most critical part of the whole process.
So what does proper prep look like? Well, first it has to be perfectly clean. No grease, no oil, nothing. Then you wash away any dirt or salts. You also have to smooth out any sharp edges or little bits of welding spatter. After that comes a key step, a light brush blast. You're not trying to strip the zinc off, you're just trying to rough up the surface a little to give the paint something to grab onto. And finally, you gotta move fast. That first coat of paint needs to go on within 4 hours before the clean surface can get contaminated again.
And here's another one of those super important technical details. Sometimes after a part comes out of the zinc kettle, it gets a quick dip in water to cool it down. That's called quenching. For a duplex system, that is a huge no-no. Quenching can leave behind invisible deposits that will wreck paint adhesion. It's a tiny detail that can lead to a massive failure.
And all of this shows you that it's not just about chemistry, it's about communication. The fabricator who builds the part, the galvanizer who dips it, and the painter who coats it, they all have to be talking to each other. The galvanizer needs to know it's going to be painted so they don't quench it. It's a total team effort. But when you get that teamwork right, and when every step is done perfectly, well, the results are pretty amazing. You get structures with timeless good looks and just incredible durability.
Just look at this railing. It's got this amazing, intricate design and a very specific color. A duplex system makes this possible, protecting that complex artwork so it looks great for decades to come, without you having to worry about rust or constant repainting.
And it works just as well for art. A beautiful public sculpture like this needs to last for generations. The duplex system protects the steel underneath while letting the artist achieve the exact color and texture they envisioned. It preserves the art and the investment. And if you want to talk about tough environments, it really doesn't get much harsher than a ski lift tower. These things are constantly battered by snow, ice, wind, and sun. Here, the duplex system isn't just about looking good. It's about safety, reliability, and ensuring this critical equipment works flawlessly year after year. So that kind of leaves us with one big final question. When you have a system that offers this much protection, this much aesthetic freedom, and a massively extended lifespan with less maintenance, how does that change how we design for the future? We're not just talking about protecting steel anymore. We're talking about building smarter, more durable, and truly sustainable structures that are meant to last.